Hello again from my front porch. It's a Saturday here in Iowa, a sunny Saturday. I kind of have to say Saturday because it's good for me to remind myself what day of the week it actually is. It is interesting how this whole new situation has really only been going on for about a week now, of me being stuck at home as opposed to out traveling. And it's amazing how it has messed with my thinking of how difficult it is for me to I have to stop and think. Okay, let's see. Today is this, and the stuff that I want to get done today is that. Because I mean, honestly, so much of my life, my schedule, was being driven by the activities that I was doing. Flying to DC all the time and facilitating these sessions, or going out to the field and meeting with guys out on the job site. That was the main thing that drove my schedule, and it's so interesting to see how not being in that kind of regimented, that's not really the term I'm looking for. But where it's almost the activity is almost dictated by the activities themselves. The schedule runs the activities run the schedule, or vice versa. Anyway, to see that's what's going on. My brain's like, oh. Anyway. It's just I have been intrigued by that and I'm not saying it's necessarily bad either. It's just it's different, and it's requiring me to maybe utilize parts of my brain that I wasn't utilizing as much or as strong, or challenging myself in different ways than I was being challenged before. So it's interesting. And that ties into a bigger concept that I've been thinking about as well. Again, we are now, at least here in Iowa, we are now only a week into the change of things, and I sit back and I think, wow, after just 1 week, look at the things that are going on. Look how people's lives have already changed because they've had to, because of so much being shut down, and while we're not under a mandatory quarantine stay in your houses thing yet, there are some that predict that could still be coming, but even without that, you can just tell that people are adapting to this reality. And it'll be interesting that when we finally do get the all clear, and life can return to normal, what that even looks like. What is normal going to be then? We all know, you don't have to really ponder. We all know there's going to be substantial ripple effects out of this. I mean, financially, we just know. Employment-wise, we just know. There's a lot of hoopla being made now about putting a mandatory stay on evictions and utility disconnections and those kind of things. For a certain period of time, and that's great. I don't have a problem with those, but the flip side is, if you have people that sit back and go, well, you can't disconnect me, so I don't need to worry about paying it. Well, they haven't wiped away the bill. They haven't said that you don't owe the money still. They're just saying they're not disconnecting you now. And if you're not paying it now, then when they are able to disconnect, your bill is going to be massive, and you're not going to be able to do that then either. And so if you can still be paying those bills, you really should be paying those bills. And I know that there are others that are having financial issues because their job has ended, because the things that have shut down are what they do, and I get that. And so I know that there's those very personal immediate dynamics, but even beyond just those, for every individual who isn't now making money doing whatever it was they were doing, they now are not spending money where they normally would have spent it. And in some cases they couldn't, it wouldn't be an option, but just, even just buying basic things. They're not doing that. And so as they're not shopping for the things they traditionally would have shopped for, that creates a next level of financial impact. And that's just the economic impact. I could spend a lot of time just talking about that, and we would see how scary that is, that even when we get the all clear, those ripple effects are still out there. They're doing things. But I'm also seeing it on an interpersonal, a social scale too. Now, internet, the way you're watching this, the way you've watched all of them. But now this is the main way of communicating. We used to just be out, going to events and, going to restaurants and bars and hanging out with the gang, and we can't do that now. And so how do we stay in contact? How do we communicate? Like this. And there was already, before any of this happened, there was already concern expressed that younger generations that are so focused to technology and social networking, social media, was that hurting their ability to actually have human dialogue, to have really in-person relationships. And when they would try to have an in-person relationship, would they have the skills necessary to make that a viable relationship, or would they have a false set of expectations? Because there is a big difference between being connected online versus being connected in person. It's interesting now that everybody is being forced into this box, into using social media. It's interesting to see how that is also already impacting people's interactions with one another. And the longer this goes on, I just wonder what the ripple effects of that are going to be. And we're seeing it politically too, where we're in the middle of a presidential year, a presidential campaign season, and you can't have rallies now. You can't have the big gatherings. Now, some say that hurts President Trump's reelection because he fills these stadiums with all these people. I don't know. I don't know if that hurts or helps. And some people say it hurts Vice President Biden, who's the presumptive Democratic nominee. That it hurts him from being able to do, because he can't have big meetings and big events. But the reality is, in all across the board, it shifts the whole political discourse to social media, which I'm not a big fan of personally, because my concern is when stuff is done here, like even with this right now, I record this, and if I don't like what I said, you know what I do? I delete it and I record it again. And if I like most of it, except maybe the ending part, maybe I'll just re-record the ending part and I'll edit it together. Point being, when I'm doing social media stuff, I have the opportunity to be selective, to choose what I actually give you, what you actually see of me. And if I don't like what's on the screen, now in my case I don't really care. but if I were a politician, it would give me the opportunity to create a very sculpted message, a message that allowed me to create an image, to create a persona that might not be authentically who I am. That's what Bloomberg tried to do, and I was a critic of his. And I don't say this in a political way. I say this because I was concerned about having somebody that came in with pockets full of money that wanted to create just an online presence and sell this view of himself, even though almost everything he was saying about himself online contradicted what people who had interacted with him in person observed, what they recognized. And so the idea of us now shifting not just local campaigns, but the campaign for president of the United States to something that is removed from the people directly, but is only presented through this kind of a easily manipulated avenue. I worry about that too. What I especially worry about is not even just the impact of this current election, but the level of comfort people may develop with that, or that we might say, well, yeah, it was that way during the coronavirus lockup, and so, yeah, I guess the candidates want to not hold as many rallies as they want to do. Yeah, I guess it makes sense that we develop a level of ease with that, a level of acceptance. But anyway, that's, again, part of that. This morning, I had a very personal interaction with the impact of all of this too. I actually went and helped a friend move this morning. And I know some of you are gonna be like, what? Oh, in the middle of this, how could you go down? Well, I did that because I'm me, and I have a friend in need. I have a friend that needed help, and I'm not going to turn down a friend. If I'm able to help, I will help. That's just who I am. That's it. And I've had plenty of experience moving, and I've had moving where there were a lot of people helping, and I've had where there were hardly any people helping. I prefer a lot of people, and so I have benefited from extra hands, and so I always pay it back and try to help where I can too. In this case, this is a good friend of mine who is going through the middle of a divorce. And has to sell the property that she's currently in because of divorce decree, because it was their home together. And the really, really heartbreaking part of this is it's her dream home. That when it was being built, when they met with the developer and she worked with the developer to map out, this was what she wanted. And so this home literally is set up to be the house that she wanted, that this is her dream home, and now she has to leave it. So I mean, that's heartbreaking. And so, I wasn't going to turn down the request. Yeah, I'm going to be there. And she had a lot of others that also said that they would be there too. Then this morning I showed up, and it was her high school graduate son, or I guess he's going to be a high school graduate. He's currently maybe finishing his senior year. It's, of course, on hiatus with everything else. But so it's her son, and me. That was it. Everybody else that said they were going to come help her move, all canceled with coronavirus related excuses. Now, some of those people, probably it was legit, but being the cynic of human nature that I am, I also tend to think that there were a few people using coronavirus as their excuse to not get out of bed, to not be inconvenienced, to it's going to be a beautiful day. Why would I want to spend the whole day lugging boxes around and stuff? It's the thought that counts. I was willing to come help, but coronavirus, I just couldn't. Well, that's all fine and good, but she still needs to get out of her current property because she has to sell it, and she's already launched into the rental agreement for the new place that she's moving into, a much smaller place that she's moving into, and until she sells the current place, she's still responsible for half the mortgage of that and paying rent on the new place too. That's her reality. She can't get out of that. All of those wheels were in motion before this coronavirus stuff happened. She is as much a victim as anybody with those situations. And I don't know. I think some of the people that expressed concern, probably it was legit, but see, here's the other thing. Most of those expressing concern that gave excuse waited until this morning to message her that. They're like, right, I was supposed to be there to help you. Well, see, I can't because, coronavirus. See, that's the part that causes me to be like, because if it really was genuine, if it was like, well, I'm taking care of my father-in-law, and he's asthmatic, and this coronavirus thing, that's very serious for someone with asthma, especially an older person like that. I can't risk exposing myself to other people that may be carriers even and stuff. So I don't feel comfortable with that. You know what? That would be a legitimate excuse, especially if you said that before the morning of moving, because then you actually are saying that. But when you wake up the morning you've said you're going to go help this person move, and all of a sudden now, well, I can't because of coronavirus. See, again, I admit, big cynic here, but my interpretation of that is you're just lazy. You're just lazy. You don't want to come do it, and you're using coronavirus as your excuse to get out of it. Now, I could have gotten out of it. She gave me an out when I got there. She's like, well, I guess it's just going to be the three of us, so I don't know that we can do that much. So, I mean, I'd understand if you didn't want to stay around too. And you know what my response was? Nah, I'm here. We can do something. Let's and we wound up we wound up doing a load of stuff. She has a small U-Haul truck. We wound up doing a load of things and hauling it over to the new place, and I helped them unload it on the other end as well. Now, I don't know that I helped a whole lot. There's big items and things they still need to move. We didn't tackle a lot of that kind of stuff, but still, I was there. And I honored my commitment, and I helped a friend. And I'll tell you, there was one point where it was tough on her. I could say there was one point where in her words, she had a moment where she had to pause because just all of everything going on, the divorce, the having to give up this home that she loves, coronavirus things, the lack of support that she received from her friends this morning, that all just collapsed in on her. And I'm not naming her because number one, she would not want me to be making her some kind of martyr, but also because really what I'm sharing with you, while it's a personal example that I'm using it as to illustrate this change that I'm seeing. People always make excuses, that if they don't want to do something, they've always had the opportunity to make excuses. But I don't know. I'm suspicious that there are going to be a lot of people now using coronavirus as their get out of jail card, get out their escape card. Well, yeah, I know. I told you I was interested in dating you, baby, but I'm not really interested in you. So I think we should still steer clear of each other because coronavirus. Crap like that. I can't come to work today. I can't. I'm afraid to come into the office, boss. I need to work from home because, I'm concerned about coronavirus. Okay. Yeah. Well, again, if legit, but again, knowing human nature, I just think there are people out there who are now not only not taking this seriously enough, I think some are taking it maybe too seriously. I have said that as well, but I think there's some who are not taking it serious. And don't worry, yes, I know I'm touching my face. I have hand sanitizer. I use that all the time too. But that there are people who aren't taking it seriously enough, but they will still use it as their ace in the hole, use it to their advantage to get what they want. And that's just that's reprehensible. That's just wrong. And I fear it's going to happen even more. People that would, there's reports that the Iowa Department of Transportation, I'm sure it's not just Iowa, but the report I've seen says Iowa Department of Transportation is having trouble keeping toilet paper in the highway rest stops stocked because people go in and they steal all the toilet paper. It's like, come on, people. I understand toilet paper is at a premium, but what right do you have to go in and take all of the toilet paper out of a public bathroom that so many others are going to need to use, especially the truckers who are bringing supplies to the stores that you're still trying to get into to buy your stuff. Those guys and ladies are driving, all these unbelievable hours to haul that stuff in here, and you are making it harder for them to find somewhere to stop and take care of their own business. It's like, come on, people. But that level of selfishness, that level of think of numero uno first. I just see that on the rise, and I see that getting worse too. So when we talk about the coronavirus ripples, the economic ones, those we keep talking about. But I see so many others in so many other ways, in so many other aspects of life. Some of them may be good, but I fear that a lot of them won't be. That they are going to forever change our society in ways that may not be all that good for our society. I guess time will tell. All right, well, I'll get off my soapbox and I'll let y'all go. And with that, I'll see you next time from my front porch.